without further ado, let's talk to our next guest here. My goodness, so much to say here. It's Davin Bellamy. Davin, we lean on you and stuff like this because you've been in the battle. And before we get into the critical analysis, and we need to do that with you, I know you'll say, like a lot of other former players have said this week, that while, our heart kind of breaks when Georgia loses or you get frustrated, whatever else, you, as much as anybody, knows what it feels like to be in the arena and to have everybody scrutinizing every move that you're making. And, listen, Georgia fans still love these players. Georgia fans still love this team. Georgia fans just want to win games. That's just the nature of the rough and tumble SEC. So as a player yourself, you kind of know what it's like to look at other players and say, why didn't you do this or why couldn't you have done that? But you also, as a player, knows what it feels like to be in the fishbowl and having people making that sort of analysis of you. And frankly, that's not a very easy thing to be either, right?
Right. Excuse me. Yeah, man. I mean, when you're actually, in the locker room, you understand you can't, win them all. And you understand you want to win them all, but you can't. And you understand that you're playing in the toughest conference in college football. And you got to bring it every given Saturday. So I'm pretty sure those guys inside the locker room aren't, listening to this. Coach Smart does a great job of making sure the outside noise does not come in. And then you kind of know that there is still time to right your wrong. The best thing about losing is now we get back to the drawing board. Practice is taken a little bit more seriously. And guys start to look themselves, in the mirror. I look at it as we were undefeated going up against, Auburn, and we were feeling ourselves. I can't sit here and tell you that we weren't. It's a natural human, emotion. I was feeling myself, so when we got our butt stumped the way we did, that reset us and that got us going. But always in the SEC, man, it's hard to run a table.
Yeah.
I mean, everything has to be perfect. You can't get injured. You got to have a perfect game. You got to win a turnover battle, every week. That's tough to do. You can still lose 2-3 games and get to where you want to get to. But in some cases, I look back at the 2017 team, I think the best thing that happened for us was to lose that game. And I kind of think the same thing goes here. And this is kind of just lead me to the next point. This is not the Georgia team that I'm used to seeing, not only to the X's and O's, we'll get to that. But there are going to be 2 more clips that I'll post today of just the attitude of this team that I don't like. And it has nothing to do with coaching. The first clip is going to be the swing pass to Cash Jones.
Okay.
And he runs out of bounds, and then the other Bama player comes and takes him off his feet and dumps him on the ground on their sideline. And then you see 4 guys from Bama standing over top of Cash Jones. And then you watch everybody from the Georgia team walk back to the huddle. Don't go over there to make sure no one is doing anything nasty to their teammate. First of all, on the teams that I was on, you don't stand over my teammate while I'm on the field. I'm running over there and I'm pushing you. And the first time it may be a flag, but just that is what I didn't like. And then on the defensive side of the ball, we got guys expecting the other guys, to make a play. I mean, you got guys tackling, getting there first. The running back is still fighting for yardage. And we got our 330-pound defensive tackles not trying to come finish the guy off. And when I look at stuff like that, man, that game, when I really took a deep dive into it, of course, the third down stuff was just they're 11 for 19, we're 2 for 8. I don't think people are talking about that enough. The most important down in football is third down. That's why pass rushers are paid the most. That's why quarterbacks are paid the most. That's why wide receivers are paid the most. And that's why the offensive line is paid the most.
Yeah.
Because that third down, you got to have a guy to go get the quarterback. You got to have a guy to go protect the quarterback. You got to have a guy that can deliver the ball, and you got to have a wide receiver that can get to the sticks and make the plays. But just this attitude, Bama was more physical than us. They had more of a swagger. They had more nastiness to them. And honestly, in my opinion, I thought they kind of, intimidated us a little bit. And that's what I'm seeing that I just did not like. I just didn't like it, Brandon.
No, I think your words are well said. I do. And I think that a lot of people are happy to hear them. And one of the things you also mentioned online that I think is, I mean, at least to my untrained and naked eye, seems true is that not only is Georgia not getting sacks right now, I think we gave the number, at least according to someone's tabulation, they've only gotten 12 quarterback pressures all year. And you touched on this, not only are they not getting sacks, but they are, at least as measured by some, not even hurrying quarterbacks along. They're not making life uncomfortable for quarterbacks, even if it doesn't quite result in a sack. And as I think you said, you've at least got to do that if you're not getting sacks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we made, Tyler Simpson look like, Tom Brady. By the third quarter, his jersey was still white. And we can't get pressure with four. So we're trying to be, exotic and run games up front and create mismatches and maybe confuse the O line because we just don't have a guy, who can win on one. And I'm just calling it like I said. I'm not trying to downgrade the guys, but I just don't see a guy consistently winning on the edge with moves. And that tells me that you've been working your craft and you know your go-to move. So we try to do these exotic schemes up front. And we got guys running into each other. I mean, we can't even run the games. We got guys running into each other when we're trying to get exotic. So we can't bring 4 or 5 because we're not going to win a one-on-one. So we try to trick the offensive line and run games, and then you run into each other. I mean, we got guys not staying in their lanes. Brandon is getting to the point to where Tyler Simpson, I can guarantee you, man, it looked from his point of view, looked like 7-on-7. When you can't even collapse the pocket, and like we talked about last week, the quarterback throwing the ball from a well, where he got to throw it from out the pocket, where even if you don't have speed rushers that's just blazing off the edge, you got guys that's just standing in their lanes and forming a chaotic cage. To maybe if he throw the ball, he hits his thumb, on his tackle's helmet. It's like we're not even getting those. The pass rush lanes are things that you're taught in high school. And I think the most disappointing thing about me when I'm watching this Dogs front seven is it's just not college level, Brandon.
Okay.
I mean, the first third down, he takes off for a 15-yard gain. And I'm pretty sure that guy who's at the nose guard, I forgot what number it was. You're at nose guard. You got 2 edges burning the edge. I'm at nose guard, and I got 2 guys behind me, my backers, and they're running across dog. It's just my job just to make sure I stay in front of the quarterback. We got guys trying to do other guys' job and just saying, forget the pass rush lanes. I want to go get my sack. And we're allowing the quarterback to step up with no hands in his face, and he can see the whole field. When a quarterback is able to step up in the pocket, his completion ratage goes up 80% because there's nobody in his face. That's why if you go to a practice and you watch, a team run 7-on-7, the ball barely touches the ground because there's nobody in their face. And that's what we made Tyler Simpson, look like. When you're 13 for 19 on third down, and it's not 3rd and 3s and 3rd and 5s, that is a direct correlation of not affecting the quarterback. And just right now, it's not at a collegiate level. It's just not at a collegiate level.
So let me ask you this, because obviously Georgia fans are hopeful that it gets better. How reasonable is it to assume that it will? I mean, I don't think this is going to magically become the 2021 defense. And as I think we've said, I don't think anyone's ever going to be the 2021 defense again. That was a historic moment that I'm glad I had a chance to live through. Probably not repeating that history ever again. But you probably do need to be better than you've been just to have a chance. So whether it's maybe Chris Cole's your best pass rusher, how do you feature him in that more? Or how do you scheme something up different? Is there something that can be done that allows this to be better before the season ends?
Bring pressure. I mean, I'm looking at guys not do, like, you have an offensive tackle that's 6'8", 330 pounds. And every defensive end is taught. I'm not trying to just go into this training mode. But I mean, when I'm watching some of the tape, they're running right down the middle of 6'8", 330. And when I pause the tape, their hands are like this. I mean, we don't even have long arms. So that tells me that when a guy's trying to go power, he doesn't know what to do. because he doesn't have the move to go power. When he wants to go speed, he can't say, I'm doing a speed rush. The 2-minute drill against Notre Dame, I said, I'm going to stab, swipe. That's what I'm going to do. And I did it. The sack against, Auburn. I'm going to stab, swipe. That's what I'm going to do. Aziz, when he closed the game out against, I think it was Cincinnati in the bowl game, he said, I'm going to do a cross chop. And he did it. So 5 games in, you are what you are. You are what the film says. I mean, we can continue to go back to the drawing board, but you are what the film says. We can't win one-on-ones. Bring pressure. Bring pressure. And that's what we saw on the first third down. I mean, at this point, as the defense, of staff, you kind of got to be worried a little bit. And I think you're about to start to see other guys get some opportunities. I watched Coach Smart press conference, and he was talking about the transfer and the guy from the Army. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
He was talking about him and how they have to find a way to get him on the field. Because right now, I think the defensive staff is just, at a point where they're not going to say it to the public. But I've been in those rooms. Everybody knows the sack numbers. And I've been in those rooms where they are, I'm guaranteeing you, challenging the D-line, and they're not, answering the call. We're just going to have to bring more pressure.
Let me finish with this, if you don't mind, on the other side of the ball for a moment. Obviously,
Right.
A lot has been said all week about the sequence at the end that resulted in the blown-up play that got Cash Jones tackled behind the line, ending that drive. And it's obviously a complicated football thing with do you want to go hurry up? Do you want to try to beat Alabama to the line? Georgia seemed to get the advantageous alignment on the part of Alabama. They were clearly offset far to the boundary side, creating a lot of space there on the open side of the field. But ultimately, the play still got blown up. What did you think about that sequence for Georgia and what essentially ended any chance of a Georgia comeback?
Man, you got to go with the flow of the game. Man. Speaking from a defensive player, just to get on about, going fast, right? So, guys my size, 6'4", 250, 240, 230, we're meant to be going forward, using speed. So when a team is running a hurry up, as a defensive player, that affects me, right? Because I really don't supposed to be on the field on 4th and 1 as a lean, edge guy. That's when we want to bring the big boys in, and I'm on the sideline. So when you go quickly, you got speed rushers doing what speed rushers don't want to do. That's taking on double teams. That's trying to stop quarterback sneaks. And the weight just doesn't allow us to be as dominant as if we put our big boys in. So I do understand that is when you got the personnel on the field, Coach Smart wanted to keep that personnel on the field because he thought that 6'8", 330 would cause more momentum on a speed rusher that was left in the game because we went hurry up and they couldn't bring the elephant package on, whereas big guys, he thought that size and not allowing those guys to sub in would allow us to get the first down. So that's where I understand that standpoint. It's a lot of times, playing for Greg Williams, he goes cover 0, mug front, and I'm lined up in the A gap. That's all cute on 3rd and 8 when you got speed on the center. But what a lot of teams started doing was, let's check the inside zone. Whenever you see speed in those A gaps, check the inside zone. Birds fly and fishes swim. I rush the passer. I'm not supposed to be a nose guard.
Mhm.
So when they run the inside zone, now me at 6'4", 250 pounds, I'm getting double teamed by the center. That's 300. I'm getting double teamed by the guard. That's 300. I got 600 pounds, 250 pounds. I'm not supposed to be on the field. So that's what the offense is thinking of. We got you with that personnel on the field. Now we can take advantage of it. We just missed the block. But when I go back to the flow of the game shows that your defense can't stop them. It just can't stop them. The quarterback is playing with crazy confidence. He has no fear. At some points, he's dropping back in the pocket, Brandon, 13 yards.
Hmm.
That means when his back foot hits, he's not even stepping up in the pocket trying to let those speed rushers burn by. By the fourth quarter, he's backing up 13 yards because he's not afraid of the speed rush. So he doesn't care about stepping up. Now he can really see the field. So I'm looking at Kirby Smart. We go tie that game up. It's 24-24. I know everybody's saying, they didn't score the second half. They didn't. But did you see the last drive? That's a gotta have it by the defense. We can still win this game. And guess what? They got whatever they wanted on that drive too. So you mean to tell me if we kick that field goal and we tied up and Tyler Simpson looks like the next becoming of Tom Brady against us, you don't think they can drive down and get 3? They've showed all day. At one point, they were 8 for 8 on third down, so we can't get off the field. So we tie that game up. I'm pretty sure just by off the data and off what we saw, they're going to go in and get 3. I think Kirby mindset right now was, look, this guy is out coaching me right now, and I can't find a call to stop him. And players play and coaches coach. Sometimes the player makes up for a bad call and vice versa. The floor of the game showed that Kalen DeBoer, he out-schemed us, and their players out one-on-one us. So Kirby's smart mindset was, let's try we can change the momentum. Let's make it 28-24. We know they haven't scored this whole second half. If we make it 28-24, it may be hard for them to get a touchdown. And they make it in field goal range, showing how this game is going. So that game could have easily finished 24-28 because you just got to look at the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where he's thinking. And the last thing I'm going to say is, if you want the coach to start, taking the points, well, your defense got to play better. Sometimes when coaches go for it on fourth down, it's like playing, Patrick Mahomes. We got to score because we know we can't stop him.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 is not going to do it. If we keep going down again 3 against the Chiefs, Pat is going to come and score. So when you start seeing that, especially in the end of the game, that's kind of Coach Smart saying, I don't have a call that's stopping this guy, and I don't have a player that can stop him. We got to get 28. We got to get 28. So, that's a controversial call, but if you look at last year, Texas A&M versus Texas, and I've been saying this, if you can't get a 4th and 1, or if you can't get 1 yard in the SEC when the defense know you need it, then you're not going to get where you want to get to. Last year, Texas A&M versus Texas, whoever wins this game goes to the SEC championship game. Texas A&M was at the 1 yard and got stopped for 4 straight plays, and they was at home. This is the SEC. There's going to be a time where you're going to have to out-bully people. And I just don't see that happening right now. Still early. Relax. Breathe. They check themselves. I guarantee you they're going to have the hardest practice this week they've probably ever had. We got to get back to the drawing board. So I got a lot of confidence in this team. Coming into this year, you knew this team was young. You knew this team had a lot of talent. These guys got to get their feet wet. You got to get the feet wet. But in the same breath, by week 5, you're not that great anymore. You're the next one. So you're not a freshman anymore by week 6. You're a sophomore. You're not a sophomore anymore. You're a junior. So the excuses of being young are getting played out. You got to step up to the plate, and accept the challenge.
Davin, strong words. Appreciate your analysis. Obviously, we think that you know a lot about this stuff, and we're glad to have you share your wisdom with us. I hope folks are seeing all this. In fact, for people who want to see on X or Instagram the different places you're putting this, how can they find the breakdowns that you're providing online?
Yeah, man, you can go on the team meeting, IG page the same way. On Twitter, it's there on my page, Davin Bellamy 17, and also my YouTube channel, One Love Media 17.0VE Media. And I appreciate all the support, man. Definitely.
Davin, great stuff. I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, baby. Let's still go Dogs, baby. Don't forget.
Listen, I'm right there with you on that. No doubt.
Sure.
Davin, good stuff. Appreciate that.
No doubt.
And obviously we all feel that way that, listen, I've been loving Georgia football for a very long time, and there is nothing that's going to ever happen that makes me love Georgia football 1 ounce less than I already do. That's one of the things that, and we're late here, I'm going to get ready to wrap up, but that's one of the things that was just so apparent to me on Saturday because y'all know I've been dealing with a little bit of a voice thing, wasn't able to work, and And so I just, it caused you to kind of question a lot of things. And when I'm there in that stadium before the game began, no real certainty if Georgia's going to win or lose. But the mindset that you have is, at least for me, it's like win or lose. There's no place I'd rather be, nowhere I'd rather be than right here, right now. And over the course of my lifetime, as somebody who's been going to these games since I was very, very little, a small child, boy, you could stack the losses I've experienced and it'd fill a warehouse. Sometimes it seems that way anyway. But the passion, the love, it's one of the ways in which I identify myself. I am very proud of the state that I'm from, and I love the people who live in the state that I'm from. And one of the ways in which we share our heritage is through this Georgia football team. And that passion's never going away. And as Davin says right there, you may break down 9 ways to Sunday, all the things that went wrong, but when it's all said and done, it's still go Dogs, and it's how do you get better from here?